Have you ever been stuck in this loop? Watch a ton of TV shows, shadowed until your throat hurts, but still stumble over every word when trying to speak naturally. Don't blame yourself. This isn't your fault. 90% of current speaking methods are all about input. Memorizing words, drilling listening, binging shows. But they're like filling a car with gas, without teaching you how to step on the pedal. Today, let's drop a game changer, an output-oriented training method that I adapted from the Franklin's writing method, designed to pull you out of mute English and into natural speaking. By the way, as a master of English language and literature, I'm constantly experimenting with different English learning methods, and this method is so effective. It has significantly improved my speaking logic and fluency. Just watch the video carefully and keep practicing, and I'm sure you'll see great progress in your spoken English too. Now, let's take a look at the specific steps. The first step is to select appropriate video materials, which require attention to 3 key points. 1. Difficulty. 2. Content. 3. Accent or pronunciation. In terms of difficulty, just choose videos where you can understand at least 7 to 80% of the content. This ensures you can retell information based on keywords. If the difficulty is too high and you can't understand most of it, using such videos for learning is a waste of time. For content, it's recommended to pick videos that focus on a specific topic, preferably one that interests you. The video content should be logical, avoiding loose structures or lyrical themes. Such materials are not conducive to learning logical opinion expression, nor to the subsequent practice of scrambling and reordering keywords. As for the third point, accent or pronunciation, just choose between British or American based on the one you want to imitate. After selecting a video no longer than 10 minutes, divide it into 10 one-minute segments. Here comes the second step, subtitle transcription. Writing down what the speaker says in this minute. There are 3 methods. 1. Handwriting. And copying by hand creates a more immersive learning environment, but requires sufficient time. 2. Printing. You can directly print the subtitles of this 1-minute segment on platforms like YouTube's webpage. On platforms like YouTube, there is a transcription function in the description section. After you click this button, you can see the scripts of this video are showing on the right side of the webpage. Copying the subtitles to a local document and printing them is a more convenient method. The third method is the most time-saving. Instead of transcribing full subtitles, just write down the keywords for each sentence in the 1-minute segment and retell based on them. This method is not recommended for beginners. And now you've got your basic learning material. And step 3 is all about to set your prompt words for each sentence in this 1-minute transcript, using 3 to 5 words, phrases, or collocations. And there's no single standard for setting hints. Adjust them according to your habits. If your foundation is weaker, set more hints. If stronger, set fewer. A demonstration of how to create prompts will follow shortly. Now, let me demonstrate how to set hints for a 1-minute segment from a video on small talk. So, the first sentence for the hints, I set situations, trite, common phrases. For the second sentence, I merged the 3 questions into 1 sentence with the prompt 3 questions, 1 how, and 2 what's. So you have to note here, if there are multiple short sentences or those with similar structures, you don't need to split them by periods. You can merge them to set keywords. For the third sentence, the hint is simple reflexive ways, but not far. I specifically include transition words like but to aid future recall. After a day or several days, retell each sentence by looking at the hints. After speaking each sentence, write or type it down to compare with the original text and check for discrepancies. Now you're fabulous enough if you've already accomplished the 5 steps. And step 6 is an advanced training. If you want better improve your logical expression ability, you can scramble the keywords of the 10 segments and rearrange them. Since the selected video content has its own logical structure, the rearrangement should follow this logic, which helps exercise your logical thinking. Now I'm gonna show you how I compare my version with the original script. And now I put the two in this document, sentence by sentence, so it's easier to compare. And I highlighted the parts I need to work on. In general, the original is shorter than mine, which means I need to work on being more concise. In the first sentence, the original says, "We often initiate with," but I said, "A lot of people tend to initiate conversations with." So using "we" instead of "a lot of people" is way simpler. The same problem with the third sentence. To get started is better than mine to help you start conversations. And the fifth sentence, the original just said, "just the other day," but I added, "for example," which is unnecessary here. Now look at the sixth sentence. The original says, "than I think I've seen in a long time," but I said, "than any other place I've recently been." So my version is really chunky and not as natural as the original one. Same goes for the seventh sentence. It just used, "and the person said," but I overdid it with "a person responded and said." Responded and said mean the same thing, so I only need one of them. And in the ninth sentence, I totally messed up with the pronouns. The original said, "all I did," but I said, "what you need to do." Since the whole thing's about personal tips for small talk in the first person, switching to "you" out of nowhere is super confusing for listeners. So I really need to keep my pronouns consistent. And the last sentence, it said, "invite people in," but I added "into the conversations." Plus, instead of just "how are you," I said asking questions like "how are you?" And my version isn't as natural, smooth, or concise as an original. Another thing I realized is preposition usage. I said "and a mixture," but native speakers actually say "at a mixture." That is more natural. So here's my quick takeaway for this practice. I have to watch out for preposition mistakes and keep my pronouns consistent. Second, I need to keep things short and sweet. And when next time I speak, I'll ask myself some questions like, are there simpler verbs I could use? Is my wording clear? What would a native speaker say? Self-checking like this is key to improving my speaking skills. If you still remember the last step, it was about reordering those hints. What I learned from that step, logical thinking is extremely valuable, and its significance even goes beyond speaking skills. From the script, we can clearly see a persuasive logic. First, point out the common problem. People always use cliché opening lines like "how are you?" or "what do you do?" in small talk. Then, provide a specific solution. Initiate with questions related to the current situation and environment. Next, use a personal case as evidence, starting a conversation by observing something different in the environment. Finally, summarize the advantages. This kind of question is more likely to engage others than conventional greetings. This logic can be naturally reused in our own expressions. When we want to elaborate on a viewpoint, first point out the common problems, then offer specific and feasible methods. Prove the effectiveness of the methods with real examples. Then finally emphasize their advantages. Just like using situation-related questions to break the ice in small talk, this way of elaboration can also make your viewpoints more persuasive. Finally, let me talk about the super popular 10,000-hour rule you often hear about. It says if you practice any skill or subject for 10,000 hours, you'll get really good at it. But here's the thing. This is just a not-so-accurate idea from best-selling author Malcolm Gladwell. On the other hand, Nobel winner Herbert Simon, who actually did tons of research on how practice time connects to skill level, always stressed deliberate practice. That means practicing a lot with a plan, strategic, thoughtful, and always improving. So basically, if you practice 10,000 hours the wrong way, you won't get much out of it. Language learning is the same. Find the right efficient methods and you'll get way better results with less effort. I'll keep digging into effective language learning tips. If you're into this, hit subscribe. And if you've got great learning tricks, feel free to share them with me.